Attention, international students who is studying in Nova Scotia, working in Nova Scotia, or if you're planning to move to Nova Scotia to get a PR, then this video is for you. There is a big change coming from Nova Scotia. Let me talk about in detail. Nova Scotia used to be one of the prime location where after completing the program, or even if someone is outside Canada, like to move because the immigration pathways in Nova Scotia used to be very simple, very straightforward. But as we expected in 2025, between the lot of immigration changes in Nova Scotia also, by the end of 2025, a new immigration regulation change is coming, which is going to change the whole course of immigration in Nova Scotia, because this is going to influence not only the PNP, but also the AIP applications. Let me just discuss about what are these changes, how this is going to influence, what you should do, and what should be your course of action in the future if you still wanted to get a PR through Nova Scotia PNP or through Nova Scotia AIP. After watching this video, you can understand that whether you have to change the field of work or even change the province to get the PR, because Nova Scotia is getting a little bit strict with their PNP as well as their AIP application. Let's talk in detail. Let me explain you what is Nova Scotia PNP or Nova Scotia AIP in general. Nova Scotia PNP, there are totally 11 different sort of PNP applications in Nova Scotia, in which mostly the students who studied there, who are working there, who are working in in-demand priority sectors, or if you are the one who is working in a specific knock code which is required by Nova Scotia, then you should be the one who used to be getting the Nova Scotia PNP or AIP very easily. On the other hand, if we are talking about the AIP, there are three sort of AIP applications there. Even if you studied or you're working, or even if you are outside Nova Scotia, you could be qualified for this if you would have a designated employer and you fulfill the eligibility of one of three sectors of AIP. Now, let's discuss about what was the Nova Scotia PNP and AIP process before, so that when I explain you about the new update, you can correlate and you can understand in well-known manner whether the new updates are in your favor or not. So Nova Scotia AIP or Nova Scotia PNP, it used to be first come first serve. That means the number of allocation which is there, if you submit your application, definitely you should be receiving the approval, nomination or AIP endorsement approved within 2 to 5 months. By 2024-2025, things have started to change a little bit. The Nova Scotia don't say that openly that it is an expression of interest, but they started to prioritizing the sectors or the knock codes which are essential. And again, you're just waiting to get the invitation or get a decision from the Nova Scotia. Now, as of December 2025, the Nova Scotia PNP and AIP is totally converted into EOI based draws, that is expression of interest, which is very similar to any other provinces, especially if you wanted to take a very close resemblance, that is Ontario. Where in Ontario, you first need to create your expression of interest by creating your PNP profile, then you have to wait. Based upon your sectors, what you might have seen in 2025, like a lot of international student and foreign worker job offer stream which happened, that specifically happened for the priority sectors like healthcare and education sector. If someone is working in non-priority sector, unfortunately, even if the person have a high PNP point, still the person might not have received the invitation in Ontario. And the same thing gonna happen with Nova Scotia. Once you create your PNP profile, you can be in the pool, and then you have to wait for the expression of interest. Now, the expression of interest is something which will be coming based upon your field of work. Let's talk about what are the priority sectors, so that if you are the one who is already in Nova Scotia, or if you're planning to move to Nova Scotia, will aim particularly these sectors to secure your PR. For example, healthcare, construction and trades, STEM, natural resources and manufacturing, and workforce need. These are the sectors which will be getting priority for both PNP in Nova Scotia as well as the AIP in Nova Scotia. One of the stream which I'm still not able to see, that is an education sector. But trust me, if you are the one who is working in education sector and you are disappointed that you are not there in the AIP or Nova Scotia, guess what? You already been in category based express entry draw. So try to gain as much as CRS point you can, and still the express entry category based draw is there for you to secure your PR. If you reach till here, don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video with your friend who might be planning to move to Nova Scotia. Because now the next topic what we are going to talk about is how this expression of interest is going to work. So if anyone know about the Ontario, BC or Manitoba, Alberta, That's the same thing gonna happen with a Nova Scotia PNP. First, you have to log into your Nova Scotia PNP or AIP portal where you enter all the information, and your information will be going to the Nova Scotia. Now, the Nova Scotia authorities will look into what sector you are in and whether it is required by the Nova Scotia community for their growth. And if it is required, then you will be getting a priority where you will be getting an invitation in your email where you can able to log in PNP portal once again and complete the whole PNP application. Once the PNP application is completed and submitted, then you have to wait for at least same like 1 to 3 months to get your PNP decision. Once your PNP decision or you receive an endorsement letter, then the same way how it used to be before, you need to submit your PR application and then you will receive a PR somewhere in around 1 to 2 years. One most important thing, the scoring system will varies. If you are in the priority sector, you may get extra point. If you have more experience, you will get extra point. If you have higher wage or if you have an education background from the priority sector, once again, that will all add the points which will give you the highest probability of securing your PR through the PNP or the AIP. But let me tell you one good news about this. There would be a periodic draws. Now, what we have looked into Ontario, recently in Manitoba, as soon as the priority sector draws are coming, it started to become a periodic draw. That means if anyone get qualified into this priority sectors, there are very high chances that you can secure your invitation faster rather than like before where you have to wait for 6 months, 1 year. Now, the periodic draw will make the PNP process easy and simpler for those individuals who have relevant work experience under this priority sector. If you or your friend who is already submitted a PNP or AIP application, what is going to happen to them? If you have not yet received the invitation or an endorsement letter from the Nova Scotia, then you are the one who is going to be influenced by this new policy, and your application will be now going under the expression of interest pool. And yes, you have to wait until you are going to select by the Nova Scotia and until they send you the invitation. In meantime, keep monitoring the Nova Scotia website because there you can get a first-hand information about all the new updates, and whenever the draw will be coming, also you will be the first one to get notified. And definitely, Can Immigration will also be there to update you with any new updates which will be coming in immigration. Going to the last part of this video, the key takeaways. Definitely, those individuals who are already working hard and already submitted an application under the Nova Scotia and PNP and waiting for last 4 to 6 months, this video may give a little bit of a relief if you are understanding what should be your next course of action to secure your PR. So if you already submitted your application, technically you just have to wait. But definitely one thing which I would like to recommend you is if you have a 1 to 1.5 years of work permit with you, try to switch your field to a priority sector if you are working in a non-priority sector jobs. Second, avoid working in food sector, service sector or retail sector. I know a lot of international students move to Nova Scotia and these are the only sector where they are technically getting a job. I understand there it might be promising that employer is ready to support you, easy to get a job, even though it's a minimum wage. Immigration is changing, everything is getting into very strict way where yes, the first thing you have to do is look for a job in a priority sector. Again, one of the most easiest sector to get a job is healthcare, where as a PSW or caregiver, you can start looking for a job in Nova Scotia, where there are a lot of long-term care center, retirement home, group homes, where if you have a proper certification or a reference, you can literally able to get a job. And let me add one pro tip there, that to work as a 33102 or 42201, you don't need a license. Yes, employer can ask you for your background if you have an experience or education, but as far as the immigration goes, there is no requirement of license. Just your probationary period or on-job training is more than enough to make you qualify under this NOC code. Do not get depressed, do not change the province if you still plan your whole PR pathway properly and you find a good employer in a priority sector and you continuously work with them. Still, the Nova Scotia PNP or AIP is really good way to get a PR. But if you are working in a retail sector, food sector or a service industry, you need to rethink your application so that the remaining work permit duration, you can even switch your career and try to gain an experience, because it's not just about the Nova Scotia PNP or AIP. By working in a priority sector, you will have more opportunity and more options. Not only the AIP or a PNP is there in Nova Scotia, but you may also get qualified into federal-based PR pathways or even the other PNP pathways in other provinces, even though if you are in Nova Scotia. For more information like this, you can always contact us or follow our channel, because we want you, a CAN family member, should be PR in 2026. And always remember, right information and right guidance just make the whole PR pathway easy and simple. And if you need more information on Canadian immigration, you can always follow our YouTube channel, where you can find all the informative videos on it. And if you have any small queries or concern, don't forget to join our live on every weekend, where you can ask your question, and definitely I will be there and happy to assist you being a CAN family member. Signing off for today. Take care. Have a nice day.